Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I'm Tina Marie St.Cyr, and we get to meet and dive into the wisdom of another beautiful soul. In fact, this person happens to be a dear friend, and she's one of my secret weapons. So, at the risk of everybody knowing about Kate, I brought her on the podcast today. So, let me tell you a little bit about Kate Elfatah. She is the founder of HoM Consulting. And HoM Consulting is a successful global digital marketing firm where she helps businesses and individuals move and completely dance in the social marketing and the digital marketing realm, which completely changes, it seems, day to day. So what I love about Kate and her team is that they're on top of it. And there isn't anything that I've ever stumped her with. And if she doesn't know, she goes and figures it out really quickly and lets me know. Wouldn't you love to have somebody like that in your pocket? So today we're going to be diving into her wisdom about digital marketing and specifically moving from a live event scenario for your business to digital, which I'm going to actually be listening because Kate and I have not had this conversation directly, even though we need to. And I had lots of live events every year, and now I'm having to move digital. So you and I are going to be learning together because I know that Kate's going to share some wisdom that she hasn't even imparted to me yet, which I love. So Kate, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored.
I have been just excited about this because I love our chats all the time. We could probably talk all day long. And so,
it's like weird, like just when you connect with someone, like even just outside of business, you're just like, oh, she gets me. It's always fun.
Yeah. And it's something that I really love about you. I'm going to get emotional is that you're so sincere and you're real. I've been in the digital marketing realm for, 20 years. And I've experienced some people that seem to be inauthentic or they're in it for the take. And what I love about your way of being and your honesty and your authenticity is that you shoot straight from the hip. You're like, this is what you need to do. No, you don't need to do that. And you keep me focused on what my high priorities are, which sometimes I'm squirrel effect here because things have fun, passion, as a creator. And you say, let's do this first. And you reel me in a beautiful way as opposed to saying, sure, we can do that. I'll take your money. And so I love your way of being. And on top of that, the sassiness is just so cool.
Never been told that.
You're my kind of person.
No, you know what? I think the only way that you can be a successful business owner is by being authentic. And some of those other tactics may work for a period of time, but they don't have longevity. So you got to keep it real all the time. And some people love me for it. Some people don't, but at the end of the day, I always say, I'm here for your business. Yeah. So if sometimes something stings and I have to tell you, then it's going to sting. But at the end of the day, it's for the best.
And I love that. And you're right. I mean, it's not like I can get off of one of our calls and go, damn it. Like I'm mad about it. I'm like grateful for it. It's like, yeah, she's right. Okay, cool. I've got you in my corner and thank you for that. So today we're talking to our audiences about moving from what we knew as live events and packing the seats, and making, having people understand our brand, our messaging, our products or services, and serving in that way. And now we're needing to move to digital. So what is it that, you tell your clients whenever they're taking that leap of faith, if they've never done it before?
Suck it up.
Just do it.
I'm gonna be honest with you because and you know what, it's such at times uncomfortable because the dynamic of live versus virtual is completely different. And I'll give you an example. I know myself.
Yeah.
When I'm with you and we're jamming and talking about stuff, it at times is a different dynamic, than a virtual, but it can be done because now we've been forced to do it. So now we have a better understanding of it. So going live to digital has to happen. And I think it's a good thing that it's happened. And I even think when this is all over, because this all will be over, we will go back to live events. But I think you're going to have a lot of people that will stay here in the digital world because it's more convenient for them.
Yeah. And yeah, from a cost standpoint, and participation, I could be in my jammies and attend an event, right? So let's talk about one angle, which is the business owner, the person who has a brand, who has a message that they want to connect with an audience, their avatar audience,
Mhm.
and they've never done a virtual event. They've heard of Zoom, of course. I think it's now part of our lingo across the
Mhm.
globe. They've never really done it. Where would you have them start to feel comfortable and understand the efficacy of video presentations?
Well, the first thing that they want to do is determine what the strategy is. And I'll tell you that a lot of people initially want to go in saying, hey, I want to make a ton of money and I can do it digitally and I can have these events and charge people. It's
Mhm.
really, really hard to do that. So what I always tell people is find what the strategy is. Are you doing a free event or is it a paid event? And then based off of that decision, it really determines how you're going to market it. You may think it may look the same, but it doesn't, because when you're asking people for money, we all know it always looks different.
Yeah. They
So
want to have
start
that
there.
value stack, the value stack, what
Yes.
they're going to get. And would you suggest that people start with free events? I mean, I know some business owners that they are so okay with Instagram lives and Facebook lives, and they're in front of the camera all the time. Almost they grew up with it, right? And then there are those other business owners that are like, I'll just wait for my clients to come to me now. I don't really want to get in front of a camera. Totally camera shy and digital shy. Let's talk to the digital shy ones. They're listening to this, so they're audio okay. They're listening to audio, but they haven't really gotten in front of a camera. What are those things that they must understand for this Vistage connection to happen with their clients?
Well, again, you got to suck it up and you got to learn tactics and ways that you can present yourself. Now, there's also the option of, if you have a team, leverage your team. Like I actually work with a couple clients where, they've tried to do video and I'm like, oh, please never do that again. Type of thing. And I'm like, it's just not your thing.
Uh,
But they have a great team. So I'm like, hey, why don't we leverage, Jenny
mhm.
and see what she can do. So, I also think the first time, if you've never done it before, the best way to kind of get your feet wet is to partner with someone.
Oh,
So
that's
if
a
you can
great
come
idea.
up, so you're doing two things. One is you're not alone talking at a camera, you know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Or within a Zoom event with a bunch of people that you may not know, which may make you feel comfortable. Find somebody that's been doing it, possibly that you can partner with first to
Mhm.
do a, combined virtual event. It's also a great co-marketing tactic. So
True.
you are not only leveraging your own fans and followers, but you can then leverage their fans and followers to
That's
get more
awesome.
what I call meat in the seats.
Love that.
So, start off that way if you're super uncomfortable.
Mhm.
There's also ways that you can do webinars where you can pre-record. There's platforms out there outside of Zoom where you can actually record the stuff and have it edited so that it's presented the right way that you want it to be presented. And then you could have your PowerPoint presentation so it's not always you. So that's also a great option, is that if you're super uncomfortable with just being on camera, then that may also be an option, is like have more PowerPoints or presentation to your video.
Right. And people that I love that, because the first time I learned to swim, I went in with somebody else. So it's
Yes.
just a great way to do it. Thanks for that advice. That's beautiful. Live events, the ones I was producing tended to be, yeah, you'd either get a ticket or they know it's going to be an extensive time there together. Like an hour was a short amount of time at a live event. If they're going to take the time to travel to something and get there, they were wanting 2, 3, maybe more hours of content. How does that now transfer into a digital digestion of the same content for video online?
Again, if it's free, you're not going to want to have a couple hour thing, right? You want to kind of just give them the lay of the land and give them some valuable information that they want to come and watch you. I always tell people 45 minutes, an hour is even pushing it today. A lot of people are also being bombarded by so many options. So if you can give them the quicker content or the quicker option. Now, when you're talking about big national conventions that are now, Tony Robbins made his virtual this year, which I know that you attended. So those sorts of things, look, he's got a team of people behind him that's curating all that content. So for the small business owner, that's not realistic. I mean, Sundance Film Festival, which I go to every year, is not happening in January in Park City. It's going to be all digital and online, and it's going to actually be across the United States with different theaters and stuff in different cities. So there's strategic ways with these larger events that you can, put that on and still have the same value. And is it going to be the same price ticket? No, it's hard to get the same value of that ticket price unless you're like giving away recordings and things like that.
And that's a great point, because I've seen that. I mean, even Tony's price tag, I opted in at the $500 ticket. There were other ticket levels that would give a future meet in the seat of a live event, so you have today's investment in a digital or virtual, conference apply as a discount or toward another seat in the future, which I love that option. It's great because we don't know when we're going to get to be back together in like a stadium or a hotel conference room and things of that nature. And it's hard. I mean, I'd love to get back together with a lot of my clients and things of that nature. It's just, there's risk, right? So I've also seen where people are doing series, like you'll sign in for something and you get a dose, so to speak, 15, 20 minutes here. And then it'll be a series of information that gets doled out over a week, 2 weeks or more. And so have you seen that also be something for the virtual stage now?
Yeah, absolutely. If you can give content in nuggets for people to swallow, that I always encourage that. So let's just say, I'll be talking about this later today too, about just video content in general, whether it be on an event or not. But if you're doing something that's super long, or you have a lot, or if there's a way that you can build it out to be a series, then obviously that person's going to find more value. So you can charge a higher ticket price for that. So if it's like, every Monday for 6 weeks, you're going to hop on and you're going to be a part of this series, you can then obviously add more value to that event strategy and charge more for that. So anything that can help that dollar ticket price go up with a virtual event is always great as well. So yeah, that's kind of where I would go with that. Encourage it, greatly encourage series, but make them impactful. Like, cause some people drag their series out and I'm like, you're repeating yourself.
Yeah. You've got to really look at your content and curate and make it very valuable for people's time. That's what I've learned, is that people's time is highly valued now, because one, we've been able to work from home. And so it's changed this dynamic of where are my core values as a person, with myself, with my clients, with my family. And we've gotten this chance, which has been beautiful, to reestablish what's most important to us. And if I'm going to listen to somebody's content, I get, and you do too, I'm sure everyone probably could say this, I get probably, I don't know, anywhere from 25 to 30 6 a.m. inputs into my email box in the morning. And there's a couple that I'm going to listen to. I'll flag them and go, I'll listen to it later. I may not have the time right now, but I know that their content is going to be valuable to me and I want to hear it. They've also done it in a way where it's a 5, maybe 9 minute chunk. And so I don't feel like I'm investing a whole lot. And if it goes past that, sometimes I just hang up. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. So we've become reconditioned in a whole new way of digesting information. And I know your team helps your clients do this. In fact, if you're just now joining us or have forgotten who we're talking about today or talking with today, we have the beautiful Kate Elfatah. She is the founder of HoM Consulting, a digital marketing company that helps you surmount the digital age and stay at that beautiful growing edge of it. And it's always growing. So you do not need to worry about it or think that, you've got to master this. Stay masterful of your own business, your own services, your own products, connecting with your clients, be that for your business, and allow a team that is specialized in social media and digital marketing and event production online, and even event production and promotion whenever we do get back to, doing things in person. Have someone in your back pocket who specializes in that and keeps you focused on who and what you are. So Kate's part of my team. We love her. Every time any one of my team needs to reach out to Kate, it's just a breath of fresh air. We know that your wisdom is going to be succinct and in our minds, and we're going to be able to run with that. So thank you again. I
Get
wanted
a
to let
tissue.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I have some. I wanted to let our listeners also know your URL, homconsulting.com. That's H as in happy. omconsulting.com. And you have a podcast, which is 8 by Kate. And you
Mm-hmm.
just recently launched that. So tell us what we can expect on your podcast with 8 by Kate.
Well, I've been listening to podcasts forever, and I'm an avid podcast listener.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was approached to start the podcast, that I really need to do this, you really need to do this. You can only touch so many people in a day. And
Right.
this kind of gave us a little bit further reach. And I'm sure that's the reason why you do one as well. But I really wanted to make sure that it was not just a bunch of fluff. So we came up with the strategy of 8 by Kate, which means every single episode, you're going to walk away with 8 things, whether you can implement them or use them. We have different segments. We have an Enter the Entrepreneur segment where we'll be talking with entrepreneurs every month. And obviously you're invited.
Right.
And we also have Enter the Expert, where we talk to experts also in the field of marketing and PR. They can share their wisdom. So the idea behind it is to share tips, tools, and trends in the digital marketing and PR world.
That's awesome. Thank you. And it's digestible, and we need that in a way that we can, I have the books. I have books from a lot of the leading marketers. I don't read them. I mean, like, I collect them, and I'd love to think that one day I can sit down and read them. The truth is, I digest information on the go. I digest it whenever I'm in my car, whenever I'm commuting. I digest it on my breaks, my lunch break. I'm digesting information. And I'll do it on my, 90-minute, I have 2 90-minute sessions per week for my business that I grow my business through. But other than that, yeah, the books are great. Audible has become my best buddy, and so have podcasts. So let's jump into that for a little bit.
Sure.
The business owner that does not know about podcasting hasn't dove into that, because it's another way to get your information out there. If you were doing live events and you are sharing your wisdom on a stage there, now they could do that and grow their list, their efficacy through podcasting. Would you advise that for the majority of people out there?
Podcasting may sound easy, but it's not. So what I would say is, if you're a new business starting out, I would not suggest a podcast. If you are a longstanding business and you have some years behind you where you're very versed in subject matter, that it would be easy, or you're super popular and you know a lot of cool people. Okay, right? Those would be the two. But it's really difficult to curate that much, especially if you're doing it on a weekly basis. Now, if you're doing it on a monthly basis, maybe. But podcasting is a great tool that a business owner can leverage 2 ways. One, yes, you could go and do your own podcast. Or 2, you can find ways where you can go on podcasts. So I would also suggest, don't start thinking about doing podcasts if you've never done one. So first, experience one. Right. Meaning been on one.
Right.
So if you haven't, reached out to other podcasters from a PR perspective, get yourself a one-sheeter together. Do other video content is really important to show that podcaster that you know how to do this. Exactly. I mean, that's what I look for. I want people on my podcast that are going to really rock it and be, one, have a knowledge base that I can, easily draw from, and 2, trust is super important. You don't want to just you want to vet everybody. But that's the same thing. I would vet you. So in vetting you, I'm going to look at, what are you doing on your social? How experienced are you in speaking in public? If you've never, spoken public, that's another thing. So,
Yeah.
shiny that little diamond of public speaking, and get on some podcasts. And literally, if you reach out to podcasters and you pitch them, because that's another thing, make sure you always pitch them an idea. Don't
Right.
just say how wonderful you are. You want to say, hey, I have this, I think I'd be a good ad, I could talk about A, B, and C.
Right. I love that. Thank you. Because you dropped a word that you and I are very familiar with. I've been on radio. I've been on radio for, 5 years in the public forum and then on TV. So we understand what a one sheet is. Not everybody might. And so if you want to know all these buzzwords, you can always reach out to Kate. Go to, HOM Consulting and find her. Kate, you offer a free 30-minute chat with yourself. And there's a link on your website for them to sign up for that, right?
Yep.
That's awesome.
It's
I would
a
say
little pop-up, and
dive
I
into it.
always do more than 30 minutes, by the way. Don't tell anyone I told you that.
When you get
A,
on
a little special for bonfire
Yeah.
people.
when you get on a roll. But when you mentioned one sheet, and it's also known as a press sheet. So I am a podcaster, and whenever I was on radio, my production crew, we needed that. So you're right. You need to present yourself in a way where people will say, okay, I get it. I see how you fit. And I could now know what topic that we are going to title our show with, and then what questions I could ask. And it looks very professional. So you don't just jump in and call somebody and go, I am cool, let me get on your podcast. It needs to be curated, right?
Yeah. And you know what? And eventually, when you do a couple of them, people will start reaching out to you.
Mhm.
So
I still get press people that reach out to me for my prior radio show for Holistic Living. I still get books in the mail. So I'm still on list, and that show has not been live for 10 years. So it's still out there.
you're on a list somewhere, Tina Marie.
We're on lots of lists, aren't we all? We're on lists. We're on lists. So the mind of the, as a summary, and then we're going to jump into one of my favorite things with Kate is technology. I want to hear about your fun stuff, because you're always bring new things to me, and I'm like, oh, I love technology. But as a summary right now on the show, we want to tell you, as you're a small business owner or you're starting out, you've got a passion, you've got a message, you've got a service, you've got a product. Live events are cool. However, we must, even when live events come back, I mean, honestly, we must find that courage and the efficacy to present ourselves, our message, our brand, our business in a digital format. Yes.
Yes. It's if you are a small business owner, there is no way around not getting personal.
Mhm.
And the world we live in today with social media, it's, there's no more yellow pages, people. People are asking people, hey, do you know someone that does this? And a lot of times the first thing they're doing is they're going to check you out on social and see who you are. And they want to see your reviews. They want to see, what you're doing. I'm not saying, every business must be there, because there's a lot of people that come to us and they have a business, and I'm like, I don't think you really need that much of a presence. I think, because of what you're doing, I don't think it's your high priority. Invest in Google ads. You know what I mean?
Oh, such as, just to help me understand, what kind of business would that fit for?
Well, like a funeral home.
Yeah, we don't.
I mean, you want to be there, but I'm not saying you need to be posting content every day. So there's some businesses that, or also, it's also about the strategy of it. So some businesses may be like that, but it may be, well, we got to take a different strategy when you go on there.
Mhm.
So that's where I would say,
I worked with a funeral home once. It was interesting because the way that we,
why does that not surprise me?
you're ha ha ha. The way that we positioned their business strategy to be more found in their community was for them to endorse family events and creating family memories and understanding how to really know who, what the dreams of your relatives are really about. What's their dream? What are the big rocks? What are the values in your family? And they did that messaging because it was part of their core values as a business as well. And so whenever the families got to that place where they needed their services, obviously that's who they were going to think of, because they were pushing the family. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool.
Good stuff.
Technology.
Mm.
Technology. So so the technology that people need to move from live events into digital, what would you say they need to just become acquainted with and understand this is what they're going to use now? Anything?
Well, I mean, the platform itself is really important. And actually, we do a talk about virtual events and how to promote your virtual events. But one of the things I always start off talking about is understanding the technology, whatever technology it is that you use. Now, there's a lot of them that are out there. There's Zoom, there's GoToMeeting, there's Cisco WebEx, YouTube, Facebook Live, IG, StreamYard is the one I was talking about earlier, where you can actually just put content up there and have it play. So there's a lot of different platforms. So the number one thing you want to do before any live event is have a clear understanding how all the buttons work.
Oh, yeah.
And what those buttons do. It's like it's sort of like me with one of those new game controllers for video games. I'm like that old Atari one stick joystick girl, you know. And give me one of those other ones. I'm like, why are there 50 buttons? You know?
There are 50 buttons on them now?
Some of them are insane. I don't know, but I don't know what any of them do. I just keep pushing as many as possible, hoping it does something. So it's sort of the same thing. It's like, make sure that you have an understanding of whatever that technology is that you're using. Mm-hmm. Now, the presentation, that's super important as well, as far as how you're registering people, if you're able to record and save the content so that you can repurpose it, which I'm a huge proponent of. So, you know, understanding it is really, really important. And then understanding then the tools that you're going to use to help market that. So if you're using Eventbrite, if you're using Facebook, if you're using Facebook groups, if you're using IG, understanding those tools are really important to make a successful event today.
Right. Because we don't want to do, it's interesting. Each one of the social media platforms has their own feel and way of being. And so, you know, I'm trying to think of an analogy. It's like whenever you're at a family event and you know one of the family members is vegetarian, you don't go up and offer them chicken. So like you just know. So, you know, LinkedIn, I love making you laugh. So LinkedIn is business. It's interesting. I hang out on LinkedIn more now than any of the other social media platforms, because it's also inspirational. It's motivational. It's fun. It's engaging. It's, you know, certain ones we won't mention have become more political and maybe not so fun to be on, but LinkedIn's been fun. And then Pinterest is curating content that looks visual and stimulating from an aesthetic place, and a lot of how-to, you know, it's the little short, how do you do it in DIY. And then we've got IG, which is, again, aesthetic. However, it's really authentic. It's letting you see the real inside of people, and they can dance on that way. And then I just love some of the way people, the ways they put photos together. I'm like, how did you even do that? That's really
cool. Curating the content is important. So, you know, leveraging the knowledge of how to use the platform, and then understanding what content fits on that platform. I mean, because then you have the TikTok, and now you have Reels that sort of mimics TikTok on Instagram. Annabella did a great blog about Reels and kind of takes you through a how-to on our website. So check it out.
Is that REELS? Is that it?
LZ.
LZ. Of course, there's always different letters in there.
Of course. So that's on Instagram now. And Instagram changed up their whole format and their platform to make shopping the major experience right now. So, you know, a lot of influencers are really kind of pissed off about it. But the reality is, you know, change happens and we all get used to it and we move on.
That's true. We learn. Right?
So understanding the technology, and then understanding what content needs to be curated for that platform is really, really important. And video content is good for all.
Okay. And so it's not just a simple cut and paste from one to the other. We would be mindful of how we either title it or engage our audiences on those different social media platforms.
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of stuff where somebody will send me something, and as soon as like myself or Bella will see it, we'll be like, well, that'll be good for stories. You know, like a story, an Instagram story. Well, I won't put it on your page, but I'll put it on your stories. So it's sort of just something you get used to visually. But the words matter that you put with your content. So the content's important, but so is that text and those words just as important. So you want to make sure you're curating those pieces as well. Okay. You know, Creator Studio, I'm giving a trick here. Everyone,
tell me.
Creator Studio is Facebook's new platform that allows you to schedule posts.
Mhm.
So using Creator Studio allows you to schedule for both Instagram and Facebook. So when you're scheduling, you can, schedule your IG posts and then schedule your Facebook posts. So there's no more of having to be attached completely to your phone. Facebook has created that, which has been, quite successful. I know for our team, we said, there's other platforms like Hootsuite and all these other things that are out there. But we find that whenever Facebook creates a new tool, they reward you for using it.
They totally
So,
do. Yeah, you're like,
so,
use it in Facebook.
yeah, then they're going to be like, hey, they're using our stuff. So, but yeah, so that's a really great tool that people should, get to know and understand how to use it. Has great insights in there as well. So you know what's working and what's not working for your business. So, and the reason why I'm telling you all this is because you cannot do a virtual event without understanding how to market it and how to promote it. So understanding that, yes, you want to dive in and do these virtual digital events now that you can't do live, but they're just not going to come. You have to let people know about your event and often.
It's not Field of Dreams, right?
No.
Build it and they will come. So let's talk about that, because you mentioned Eventbrite, and that's another platform where you can reach people who are looking for events. And I love how Eventbrite posts. Once you're an Eventbriter, they post, this is happening on Eventbrite. These are the new things coming out. So they have like their little newsletter. What does Eventbrite do for people who are wanting to market and publicize their upcoming digital event?
Well, what's so awesome, if you are this is a kind of like a double-edged sword here.
Okay.
It's awesome if you're doing digital events on Eventbrite right now because they're rewarding and promoting those. It stinks if you're doing live events because Eventbrite is not promoting them.
Well, darn.
So saying that, well, I know it stinks. But I was never a huge fan of Eventbrite. I'm going to be honest with you. When the pandemic hit and they really kind of stepped up for small business owners and said, this is all the things that we're going to do for you, I now am. And we encourage the use of it because it also has a great integration with your Facebook page. So you're not replicating efforts. So it's not time consuming like it once was. People can purchase directly from Facebook and IG as well. So it makes it super simple for you to manage. A lot of people don't know this, but you can actually upload lists into Eventbrite to do your invites. So a lot of people don't know that there's a lot of different tools, and they also give a lot of like, send them a reminder 2 days before, send them a reminder day of, and I always do a send a reminder 10 minutes before.
Right.
You got 10 minutes, get on my call.
Yeah.
It's so there are so many wonderful tools. They do take a piece of your ching-chang, the change that you have, but yeah. So, that's the only downfall is they will take some of your change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so you look at your ticket price and adjust.
Yes. Yes.
What profit you really want to put in your bank account.
Exactly.
Partnering. It's like if you had a salesperson that's out there marketing, you're going to give them a commission.
Yeah.
So that's how I view my utilization of Eventbrite. They are a salesperson that's helping me. So they're going to get commission on the sales of the ticket. It's just a mental, perspective.
Yeah. You just need to understand that though going in. When I said understand the platforms, you want to make sure you understand what, how much money are you making, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Super important.
Yeah. Eyes wide open when you go in.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that we're doing in digital world now is, like you said, repurpose the content. So having that as a mindset whenever so I don't just, go live on Facebook or, on IG. I have a purpose. I understand. So I'm listening to my client base. What problems are they facing? I'm looking at my market. What are the conversations being had? Because I want to cross-populate. If I've got hashtags where people are talking about, like we had the Me Too movement and Black Lives Matter and things like that, and I have something that is valued in that conversation, I'm going to use those hashtags. But I'm sitting down, I'm outlining what we're doing. And I love that your team helps our team do that, is that we're forward projecting what the month's going to be, what the 2 months are going to be, so that we can have an understanding of how is this digital content going to be delivered to our clients and what's the purpose, intent. So it's not just, fly by the seat of your pants. It's actually well thought out strategy. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Um, be more specific.
I've seen some influencers or business owners just get onto Facebook Live and talk. There's not really a direct understanding of where are you taking me with this video? Why am I watching you at this moment? What
Well,
message am I going to be left with here? So understanding the strategy and the intent of yourself producing this digital content, and we're not talking just courses and events that were on stage. This is anytime you get in front of the camera, people are watching now and they want to be led somewhere and given value and a message that they're going to take away and find value in it.
yeah. I mean, there's different types of digital messaging, right? And we also don't want to forget there is this thing called the social aspect of social media. So, yes, there is going to be some content that is going to be more fun or maybe not be a direct sale, which, I don't really ever encourage that sort of content.
Mm-mm.
So I'm all for call to actions, but as far as the actual content, I think you need to at times keep it light, informative. I think doing promos for your upcoming events is super important. So if you know that you have an event, to do a video explaining what one will receive with the event, what the benefits are, what they're going to walk away with. If you have other speakers, who they are and why they are part of it. So doing like promotional videos are important to promote your event as well. And that digital content, after you're done your event, you can also take that content, snip it up, and give it out as content. One of the great things is with LinkedIn specifically loves YouTube links. LinkedIn's not huge on just dumping your video content on there. They would prefer that link, is what we've noticed.
Wow.
So being able to, if you have a 2-hour seminar or something, to be able to dice that up in little chunks of content that you can deliver later. I mean, I know, Tina Marie, you're great at doing that. You do something, you're like, hey, here's the video, use it how you want. That's awesome. So those are all really great tools and tactics that you can use when it comes to your virtual event. The leading up, creating something, and then the after of being able to use nuggets of that over time in different areas.
Yes.
I love repurposed content, by the way. Oh, and another thing is you can also run it through a program like Temi and get the transcription of it. And then guess what? Now you have yourself a written blog, which is SEO for your website.
Completely. And possibly even an ebook, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. All day.
There's a platform that you've used to take a Temi, Temi, in case you don't know what we're talking about here. It's a transcription service. There's other ones, but I rely on Temi as well.
Yeah, I do too.
Very fast. They could push that content into an ebook. Is there any type of technology that you would recommend do that for the ebook creation?
Canva can do it for you. I mean, I have like Designer and things like that. I mean, and I've used it, but it's actually cumbersome. I would say either go on Fiverr, find somebody that can throw one together for you, or our team creates them in Canva all the time.
That's awesome. And if you don't yet know what Canva is, it's going to be your next addiction once you get over there.
I don't think there's any small business owner that does not know what Canva is. And if they do not know, then yes, yes.
Your latest addiction.
And Guy Kawasaki, who kind of took over Canva many years ago, is a genius. So I follow him religiously. So
there's one that I love that I just love, and they've also made so many updates. It's called WordSwag, and it's an app, WordSwag, and so it makes little graphics, and you can make videos, and it's just got so many wonderful things. It's like my game. So I know there's gamers out there, but so it's called WordSwag, and it's just so fun, to make these, and then it can post on your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, anything like that. And then these are the things that whenever I make them, I send them to you and you repurpose them. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's so many lovely tools out there now that there's nobody out there that I would say cannot commit to creating some sort of content.
mhm.
Obviously we're talking about, events here, and having that visual creative is super important for your event. We didn't even talk about that. So, having flyers, especially if you have an office, being able to also promote it internally as well, that you're doing a virtual event, is important. So, understanding that creative piece and that visual piece of what's going to grab people's attention is also really important for your event.
That's awesome. You are full of so much information. What last words for this podcast would you give to the small business owner about moving from live events into the digital realm?
Start doing it.
Do it.
Yeah. Even if it's just partnering right now, find somebody that you can partner, come up with a creative idea. It's a great way to show that you're an expert too. And that's really going to help propel your business. So I encourage you to get out there and try, start playing around with some of the technology, and then slide into doing an event.
And I also encourage you to reach out and take advantage of that free 30 minutes with Kate. You will learn so much. She's going to dive into your business, dive into your needs, dive into the live events that you've had, and how do I move to digital? And you're going to walk away with wonderful takeaways and action steps for you. And if you're like me, you're going to fall in love with Kate. So go to homconsulting.com and find Kate and sign up for that free 30-minute chat with Kate. And then also make one of your favorite podcasts, the 8 by Kate. And that's EIGHTBYKATE, 8 by Kate. And make that one of your religious things that you do each week to have marketing and this new advancement for your business. This is the new way of being. If you're needing the courage to dive into digital, Kate's there to help you.
Oh.
Thank you for being our wonderful guest today. It's always a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you, Tina Marie.
Thank you. And until next time, everybody, Tina Marie St.Cyr here. And you can catch more information about us at bonfirecoaching.com, as we're here to be in your corner as well to increase your business, your life, your happiness, your joy. Till next time. Bye-bye.